Hello, it's Peter Wright and Kathleen Beauvais with the weekly wrap up for the Yakking Show. And this is the week ending 27th of September. And although there's some strange weather all over the world with floods in the UK, unbelievable amounts of snow in parts of South Africa, we are enjoying nice early fall weather. It's more like late summer. But first, hi, Kathleen. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Peter. Thank you. And it's great to be back.
Yes, you've been away. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Well, why don't we start with tell our audience what you discovered on the Emerald Isle?
Oh, Peter, we just returned from a fantastic trip to Ireland. What a magnificent country. I love everything Irish. I really do. I've had fallen in love with the Emerald Isle years ago when I first visited. And of course, the love for it is still there. I love the people of Ireland. They're just absolutely lovely. And of course, it's a picture postcard pretty well everywhere you go. It's just lovely. I can't say enough about it.
Yeah, yeah. Kathleen sent me some photos while she was there, and the countryside with the patchwork fields and the views down the cliffs and the sea and the mountains. Oh, it looks absolutely brilliant, you know. So yeah,
Well,
I'm sure I can understand why you enjoyed it. Yeah, but
and
you had one scary bit. You don't like the narrow roads, do you?
well, that's true. That is true. If you're not, if you're used to North American roads, of course, we have a lot of space here, right? But there, it's a different story. They have, it's just one car width wide, and it's the speed limit is 80 kilometers per hour. There's no way you could do that. And of course, they're bendy and windy little roads. And God help you should you come face to face with an oncoming car because they just have these what do you call them, Peter? They're, every few
Pull in
yards,
spaces or something.
they're
Yeah.
pull-in spaces to allow another car to go by. But if you happen to come face to face with a car, head on with another car, and there aren't anyone, one of you has to back away. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it,
I
it it's
I
yeah.
haven't been to Ireland, but I've been to Scotland, and they have very similar roads with those pull-in spaces. And when I was there with my stepson driving too fast, we came around a corner, and there was a huge John Deere, like John Deere tractor, like we have here in Canada, massive, almost touching the walls on both sides. And of course, he braked, we braked, and we had to back. He had an implement behind him, so we had to back up quite a way. And I thought, wow, this is really hairy, you know.
Right.
And
And
of
there's no
course,
shoulders. There are no shoulders.
no, 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 not at all.
So,
Yeah, and for you, it's driving. I mean, I lived most of my life driving on
right.
the other side of the road, but for you,
Yep.
it's on the wrong side of the road too, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the traffic, but there's more to Ireland than traffic. So you really wanted to talk about one of the events that you
Oh,
did.
Peter, we visited one of the prettiest counties in all of Ireland. It's called County Donegal. It's just a picture postcard, as I said, with the high cliffs and the ocean views. And one of the places that we visited, believe it or not, was an alpaca walk. It was called an alpaca walk, and we'll provide a link to that in this video. But what's special about it is because it's in an area called Malin Head, which is the most northern part of the Republic of Ireland. And at Malin Head, you can actually see on a very clear day, you can see Scotland. And this alpaca walk, literally, they hand you you have one alpaca. Mine was named Barney, and you have him on a leash, and then you walk with them for about an hour, as well as take in the views. I'm telling you how therapeutic it was to do that. These alpacas are so friendly, and soft to touch, and they're not quite as large as llamas,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, they're not native to Ireland.
No, no, not at all.
No, not at all. But there was a farmer who decided he didn't want to work with sheep anymore, and he decided to go with alpacas, and it paid off for him. Really, it did. And I tell you, it was so calming just because of the location, the
Mm-hmm.
views of the beautiful ocean and the mountains, and to be walking alongside this magnificent animal it's just so, and they're so cute. I mean, they look like poodles. I don't know. But you've had this a similar situation. You've also, as a farmer, you've worked with not just farm animals, but you've also had the pleasure of being around horses a lot. And you said
That's
that
right.
being around horses is very therapeutic as
Oh,
well.
very, very, very therapeutic. Yeah, luckily most of my life, and even in Canada for 10 years, I had horses here, but
Mhm.
haven't had for about 5 years. So I got my first horse when I was 7. And then for a short period in South Africa, I didn't have horses, but otherwise all my life. And absolutely therapeutic because they can be frustrating, they can be dangerous, but if you've got the cares of the world weighing you down and you go and spend a bit of time with your horse, or preferably on top of your horse, wow, it's you transported to a whole different world. So, yeah, I really
Well,
enjoy it. I can understand it, but I haven't been close to alpacas. I've seen some here in Canada. I've been fairly close, but tell
mhm.
our audience how big are they, Kathleen? I mean, are their shoulders your waist height or bigger than that?
You know what? They were almost, they was just slightly shorter than me, and I'm short.
Right.
So, um, but yeah, so I would say, yeah, I guess their backs were probably, yeah, just around my armpit.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, just absolutely gorgeous though. I mean, their coats are not as coarse as those of a llama.
Hmm.
And they're just I remember the farmer saying, if you have a pair of alpaca socks, you will never go you will never wear
Really?
a pair of socks again, because they're just so magnificent. They're just so soft and
Yeah.
warm.
Yeah. Yeah. So they spin the hair of the coat to make yarn, which they then make garments from, right? Wow, interesting
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
And
right.
do they have a halter on them with a lead rope? And then do they have anything on their backs? Do they carry anything or not?
No,
No.
no, you don't ride them.
No,
You
no, I
just
know you
walk
don't
with
ride them,
them.
but they do use them in the Andes to carry freight. They put saddlebags on them, don't they?
True, true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about colors? What colors were they?
Oh my gosh, they had chocolate browns, and then they had um like chamois colors and white and
Mhm.
yeah, and mostly solid colors. I think there was just one, and this farm had 50 alpacas.
50. Wow.
Yeah, and I only saw one that was that had multiple colors, but usually
Hmm.
they're just the ones that we
One
see
solid color.
anyways are solid colors. Yeah.
Mm. Oh, very interesting.
Mhm.
So we will put a link to the alpaca farm in the description and in our
Absolutely.
newsletter. Wow. And you're going to send some pictures that we're going to include as well. So,
I'm gonna try and send you a video
oh, we'll
of
get
this
it.
walk,
Okay.
and because honestly, if you're ever in Ireland in Malin Head, I would highly, highly recommend going on this walk. You won't regret it. Won't.
Very good. Wow. It sounds good. I need to put that on my bucket list as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow, thanks, Kathleen. Now, we always do a recommended product. We haven't got a health tip as such, but you have a recommended product you want to talk about for our audience.
Well, Peter, you know what? It is so important. Gut health is just so absolutely vitally important. And that's why I like to promote Dr. Morse's GI Broom. This is a product, Peter, that basically takes, for lack of a better term, the sludge out of your digestive tract. And it's a powerful product. It's your body doesn't become dependent on that if you take it. It's not like your over-the-counter laxatives,
Hmm.
which your body can over time become dependent on them to go. This one is just, it's all beautiful herbs. They say here it's a powerful herbal laxative and lymphatic puller.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it functions to remove buildup from the intestinal wall, and it uses psyllium husk and Cascara sagrada. while also stimulating the flow of interstitial fluid from the gut lining into the lymphatic circulation and elimination. And it uses, chickweed and plantain, aloe resin, etc. So it's a wonderful product. I've been using it now for a few years, actually.
Mm,
I can't be without it. It's GI Broom,
very
Dr.
good.
Morse. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a little story on health that I want to share, and this is to our audience. This is purely anecdotal. This is not medical advice,
Mhm.
but I think it's worth sharing. So Kathleen has been educating me on healthy living and healthy eating for some years, and with her prompting, I started drinking Dr. Morse's Heal All Tea a couple of months ago. So I've been on that for about 2 months. I've also increased the supplements. I take a whole range of natural supplements. And then something both Kathleen and I started a few months ago, we interviewed Tom Palladino on our show, and sadly he passed away
Mm.
last month. But he is an expert on scalar light, and you can watch our episode. I can't remember offhand what number it is. I'll put it in the description. You watch or listen to the episode we did with him. But he very kindly said, "Why don't you try my scalar light therapy out?" So we both tried it out. So I've been doing that for about 3 months. That's the background. What are the results? I've had a history of skin cancer, having lived in Africa all my life, and I've had nearly 200 excised over the years, of which over 100 have been confirmed either basal cell or squamous cell. And for 40 years, every time I've had one or more excised, at least one has been one of those two types of cancer. In 40 years, I haven't had any excisions where everything has been non-cancerous or benign. So 2 weeks ago, I had two cut out of my one leg, and I was convinced the one was a skin cancer that was growing very rapidly. And this week, my surgeon phoned me, said, "I've got the results back from the biopsy. Neither of those two were cancerous. They were just benign sun-damaged growths." Okay, as I say, it's anecdotal, but it makes me wonder if all these things I've done at Kathleen's prompting to improve my health have cut down the severity of my skin lesions that have been caused by the sun. That's my story. Make of it what you want. But I think it's another pointer to the fact we should take responsibility for our own health and do things that will improve it, not rely on so-called mainstream medical experts to prescribe medicines. That was my little story. So what do you
Here,
think of
here,
that,
here.
Kathleen?
Here. I'm actually drinking one of Dr. Morse's kidney teas.
Oh, all right.
Right. And I love his kidney tea as well because, of course, he promotes, according to Dr. Morse, your kidneys and your lymphatics are key to the overall health. Get those two systems functioning well, and the process of eliminating toxins out of your body. And of course, diet is important too, right?
Yep,
But no,
absolutely.
Peter, I'm just so pleased with that for you. I really am, because I think everything that you do to help yourself, to help your health, all these things benefit, right? You reap the
Sure.
benefits, and sometimes you don't even notice it. Sometimes you have aches and pains that will go away over time. You don't you've forgotten about them, but yet you've helped yourself because of all the proactive things that you've done. So
That's
kudos
right.
to
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Kudos to you.
Thank you, Kathleen. Let's get on to what happened on the Yakking Show this week. So on
Yes.
Tuesday, we had a very interesting guest by the name of Jeff Halligan, an author, and he was talking about parenting. And he has brought up three sons, and they're all doing really well in life.
Mhm.
And he and I are singing from the same hymn book, because he was talking about how disadvantaged the current generations are. And one of the horrifying statistics he mentioned was that 37% of all graduates take their parents along to their first job interview. I couldn't believe that,
I
right?
couldn't believe that either.
And I think he said 70% of North American youngsters will fail the test to get into the military.
That one
70%.
shocked me.
Yeah, mainly
Wow.
obesity, mental health disorders, poor work ethic. Oh, it goes on and on. But 70% would fail. If you go back 50, 60 years during the Vietnam War, and whether it was right or wrong is a different argument. I'm not sure what percentage of men failed when they were called up for conscription, but I would guess it was not more than 10%.
Right.
In my military experience in Rhodesia, conscription as well, we the few that failed on medical grounds was also under 10%, right? And I had one guy in my unit that only had one kidney, and he was excused on military grounds, on health grounds, but he insisted on doing his bit for the country and going into the bush with one kidney, right? That was the attitude that people had in those days. Anyway, so Tom, I mean, Jeff Nelligan, really interesting episode for you to watch and listen to. He really impressed me, and the fact that he has three successful sons impressed me as well. Who's coming up after that? Well, we have Dr. Tom Ingenio coming up the following week, and he is an expert in Asian medicine, and particularly acupuncture and cupping. And on the episode, he was talking about the ancient practice of cupping, which has been around for something like 4,000 years and was originally done with animal horns and is now done with glass or silicone or plastic cups. It's quite an involved subject to talk about, but it's beneficial, and that's coming up next week. If you've got aches and pains, it's one that's really worth watching because you can do it yourself at home. But the following week will be Alan Meisner. He's a fitness expert, and he specializes in helping people over 40 regain their fitness. And one of his big things he preaches is once you get past 50, it's really difficult to start rebuilding muscle mass that you've lost. So you want to get it going right before you get to 40. And then the following week will be Lauren Callahan, a young woman who specializes in gut health. And she herself is an ultramarathon runner, has done big triathlons, interesting lady as well. That's what's coming up on the Yakking Show. So, Kathleen, do you want to add anything to any of those?
Oh, all of those are just, as you're reaming them off, I just remembered those interviews and how fantastic they were. And we've learned so much from our expert guests, haven't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
We have.
We're having a lot of fun.
Yeah, we have. And we've got more interesting guests coming up after that. So to make sure you don't miss out on our guests, hop onto our website, or there's a form at the bottom of our weekly newsletter, and subscribe to our newsletter. Then you will know who's coming onto the show. We want to tell you, if you're getting our newsletter, that we recently changed to ConvertKit to send out our newsletters. We believe they do a good job. It makes it easier for us. So if you notice a slight difference in design, that's the reason for it. And then I need to talk about our featured author of the week and our book of the week. And our featured author is Jeff Nelligan, who was on the episode on Tuesday. And his book is 4 Lessons from My 3 Sons, How We Can Raise Resilient Kids. It's a really good book. And there will be a link to that in the description and in the newsletter. And I really think that's enough for me. How about you, Kathleen? You got any more to add?
Well, Peter, we are always looking for expert guests on our show. And if you're one of them, we want to hear from you. And all you have to do is go to theyakkingshow.com, click on the contacts tab where you will find a short application form, and we'd love to hear from you. So that's about it for us today. So until next week, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.